Hello true believers, this is Mr. Miracle Comics, my channel. My name is Dave, and today I have 5 more undervalued comic books for you to go out and find for yourselves. So we always try and stay inside those cheap picks, right? We don't want to spec on books that are already in the CBSI top 1 or top 10 or as being blogged on everybody else's channel. We're looking for the books that are still under the radar that we can pick up for cheap. Now, not every spec book that I pick up or pull up in here is going to be a huge winner, but I do believe that they all are undervalued. So the first book I want to bring up is a book from 1982, and it is The New Teen Titans, number 21. So in this comic book, there are a ton of first appearances. There is the first appearance of Brother Blood, the first appearance of Mother Mayhem, the first appearance of the Monitor, the first appearance of Night Force, which is a big team, the first appearance of Vanessa Van Helsing, and of course the first appearance of Merlin the Leopard. Well, we won't worry about Merlin the Leopard. He's a pretty minor character, but he's kind of fun. He's a leopard that used to belong to Merlin and got named after him. Anyway, this is a $1 book. I pulled this out of the dollar bin. I paid $1 for it, and it is in really nice shape. There's not a whole lot wrong that I could see for this book for $1. There's so many first appearances in it, and characters like the Monitor. The Monitor had a big thing to do with the whole Infinity Crisis that went on in DC Comics in I think '84 is when it started. So there's that, or no, maybe it was '86. Regardless, whenever Crisis on Infinite Earth started, the Monitor is a big part of that. Brother Blood, he is the leader of a cult called the Cult of Blood. They are a cult that worships Trigon the Terrible. And if you know who Trigon the Terrible is, he's like DC's Mephisto, and he is the father of Raven, who is a member of the Teen Titans. And just see a little picture of her over there. So Trigon has a lot to do with the Teen Titans and a lot to do with the DC universe. And so, but these they're not huge characters. This is not going to ever become a really hot book. But with so many first appearances in it for $1, I think it's really undervalued, right? Because look, like there's so many little keys there, minors, that make up quite a large one. So The New Teen Titans, number 21. Don't pay any more than, at very max, $5 for that one. Very max. Alright. So the next spec pick on our list is going to be actually 3 books that make up this spec pick. And they are from 1992. And it is The Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 26, The Spectacular Spider-Man Annual number 12, and The Web of Spider-Man Annual number 8. And the reason that these books are undervalued, because again, I pulled all of these out of the dollar bin, and I have seen them multiple times since then, for in the $2-3 range. And I bought an extra set, an extra set for myself when I found them. And the reason that I think that they're so undervalued, if you look up here, that little Venom picture, plus a solo tale of Venom, part 1, part 2, part 3. So the 3 of these make up the very first solo Venom story. Right, so this is the first time that Venom's in his own story and put out here. Predates anything else, Lethal Protector, all that stuff. His first solo story is in these 3 books. And again, I can find them all over the place for $1 or $2 or $3. Right, and in mint condition. These are really nice condition. There's absolutely nothing wrong with them. And yeah, well worth picking up for a couple bucks to have the very first solo Venom story. I don't think a lot of people realize that that is an important book to Venom, and with everything that Sony is going to continue to do with the whole Venom franchise, because Venom was kind of a surprise hit for them, right? It got panned in the reviews and whatnot, but it ended up making quite a bit of money for Sony. And if you look at what are Sony's biggest pictures ever produced out of there, they're all Spider-Man titles, right? Including Venom and the original Sam Raimi Spider-Mans. They're all Spider-Man titles. So they're going to keep going with Venom. They're not going to give up, a $500 million or $1 billion property like Venom. So I think that everything around Venom is starting to go up. There was a great quote actually on one of the comment sections of my last spec video last week by a gentleman named Brick Hunter, and he said, "Rising waters make," or was it? Yeah, "Rising tides make all ships rise." Sorry if I misquoted that a little bit, Brick. Basically, your rising waters make all ships rise. Basically, what that means is that when one book gets really hot based around a character, all of the little books that go with him are going to see a rise in value as well. So when ASM 300, his first appearance, jumps up, we also saw 299, the cameo. We saw 301 gain in value compared to, like, say, 302 or 307. Lethal Protector jumped up quite a bit in terms of price. So these books, I think, are a little bit too unknown, but they're going to get known, right? More and more is going to start coming out that this is an important book to Venom. And you should be collecting this if you're a big Venom fan. All right. So the next spec pick that we've got, I am going to pick, and it is the newest book in my collection here, or in our spec picks here. And that is The Force Awakens. Hang on, I still got a sticker on here. The Force Awakens #1 of its limited series. Okay, so this came out as a 6-issue limited series in 2016, just after the movie came out. But I got this book for $5. Right, it's in absolutely mint condition. I've seen it still for around the $5 range in other places, and it has so many Star Wars first appearances in it. First appearance of Rey, first appearance of Poe Dameron, first appearance of Finn, first appearance of Kylo Ren, right? There's so many first appearances, first appearance of BB-8. If you look at the old Marvel Star Wars books, those first appearances are starting to heat up. Well, these ones are still going relatively unknown. This is Star Wars for a whole new generation of people, and they're not going to stop with with the last movie, right? That might end the whole Star Wars trilogy saga, but they still have big plans for characters like Rey and Kylo Ren afterwards. Rumoredly, like Kylo Ren, Finn, and Poe Dameron. Depends what happens in the last movie, but from everything that I've read, they have very much plans to continue on with these characters in another set of movies. Of course, they're $1 billion movies each, right? The first two, and we're going to see the next one probably crest over $1 billion each. So, with all those first appearances of characters for the first time in a comic book here, I think this one for $5 is very undervalued. All those major characters. This has crossover ability. Not only comic collectors, but Star Wars collectors as well would probably benefit for having this into their collection. So grab this book. You can grab it for $5 now. You can leave it in your collection for 10 years. And, if you feel like cashing in on it, then go for it. But I think with, again, so many important characters, first appearances, and there's more first appearances, I didn't even list them all, for, that $5 range, definitely undervalued comic book. All right, so Star Wars, The Force Awakens, excuse me, #1 of the limited series from 2016. So these 3 books will make up my 4th spec pick of this video. And these ones you got to grab up ASAP, okay? And that is 52, week 7, week 9, and week 11, okay? And these 3 make up the first appearance of Kate Kane as Batgirl, right? So number 7 is first appearance of Kate Kane, first cameo appearance of Kate Kane as Batgirl in number 9, and first full appearance of Kate Kane as Batgirl here in number 11. So number 11, I think, kind of pushes it up a little bit, but most of them are very, very cheap. For the entire set of these books, I paid, I think it was $15, right? So about $5 each, but even then, I kind of bought them because I wanted them for the show and stuff. I probably could have found them for cheaper than that. So, but think about the $10 to $15 range for all three of these put together right now. However, they just announced a brand new Kate Kane Batwoman television show on the CW. So these books might see a quick rise here right away. And maybe not a lot of people even realize that here in the 52 is where Kate Kane got her first appearance. So you can go out there, I would go out there and try and find these books for under $20. Okay, don't overpay for them. Kate Kane Batgirl, she's a good character, a very nice character to have her first appearance. However, CW shows tend not to push the value of a book up too much as compared to, say, a movie would or anything. But yeah, once that TV show actually hits the air, I would really see, that there's going to be a rise in these three books as more people kind of figure out where Kate Kane and her first appearance as Batgirl showed up. All right, so 52, week 7, week 9, week 11. And those books come from 2006. Okay. So, the last spec pick on our list for today, guys. I am going to pick the epic comic Akira #1. Okay? So, they have announced a live-action Akira movie, which is, I'm like, whoa, please do it well. If you're around my age, in your 40s, perhaps in your 30s, and you got asked what is your favorite manga movie, a good chance you're going to answer Akira. Same as, what is the first, manga movie you ever saw? Would probably, a lot of people would say Akira. So it's going to be a big movie. It plays into that whole same generation that love the Transformers and G.I. Joe and stuff. And I'm really excited about it. The animated film that came out doesn't really do justice to this set of books. There's 38 books in total for the run of Akira. And they do talk to many, many more different characters, crazy characters. They get a lot more into like the subversive stuff they're doing and the resistance fighters blowing up stuff and all that stuff. They get way more into the different gang wars. And it gets... If you watch the anime movie, it's basically the first part of this series and the last part of this series, and they kind of cut out the middle. So hopefully when they do the movies, they're going to include a lot more of those kinds of characters. If you ever remember back in at the movie, there was like a group of children that seemed to be aged and stuff, but had powers. They expand a lot more on who they are and what they do in this book as well. But we know there's a movie coming. Grabbing this book, there's a manga, Japanese only written manga, but this is the Epic Comics version, which came out in 1988. You can buy, this is a first print, you can buy the first print. I bought this one for about $30. It's in really, really nice unread shape. So that is a good pick. There's also a second print, right? And they are practically identical, right? So be careful when you're going to go buy this. Don't buy the second print for first print prices. I paid $30 for this one. I got this one last week at the flea market. I actually bought 3 copies of the second print for $2 a piece, right? So there's quite a big price difference. And the only way you can tell, I'll show you, is the first print is worth $3.50. That's right. Right, you can see that price there, $3.50. And the second print is $3.95. Okay, so that's the only difference between these two books. Keep your eye on that. If you are looking to buy this off eBay, make sure you blow that picture up and double check that that's the right price that there. And when you get the book in the mail, double check that that $3.50 price is there. If you paid for a first print, please make sure you got a first print. But yeah, with the movie coming up and the popularity of how it was for my generation of people and compared to manga, how more popular manga is even getting still. There's so many new fans of it and new stuff. Live action, people are going to be real interested to see how it translates over. I know I'm going to be really interested to see what kind of job they do. And I think that this book at $30 is undervalued currently and should see quite a nice rise once we start seeing trailers and whatnot starting to come out for the Akira movies. Okay, so grab up this one, 1988 Akira #1. Please don't pay more than around $30 for it max, and that's for a really nice copy. I know you can get slabbed and signed or whatever copies like that. That's a price point stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking always raw books. And yeah, I think you could see a nice little rise in price on the back end of this book once we get some of that movie action being advertised and really close to the release date too. Excellent. So that has been 5 undervalued comic books for today. Thank you very much for watching. I did a count, and so today's 5 picks, that equals now 95 personal comic spec picks that I put out. I'm not counting the viewers picks videos that I did. So next week, the 5 books that I'm going to put up for my normal Wednesday videos, that will equal my 100th spec pick. So I have some really good picks in mind for that show. I've already got my show all set up. I'm really excited to show you next week's video, and I think you'll be pretty happy and pretty impressed with some of the great books that great dig ups that I found for next week's show. All right, there'll be lots of Silver Age and stuff in next week. So thank you again for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel. If you see someone's comment, please like and subscribe to them as well. Sub each other up out there. Get as many viewers going for each other as we can. And I will see you next week with my 100th spec pick. This has been Mr. Miracle. I'll see you next time.